Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video. Your support so far has been incredible. Thank you so much. Today we're going to be talking about whether or not the numbers on those scales actually matter. I came up with the idea for this video a couple of days ago because I was doing a live feed on Instagram and a couple of people who follow me there came in and we were chatting back and forth, and they were saying that they'd had losses that week that had actually left them disappointed. And it really got me thinking about whether or not we put too much pressure on ourselves to aim big instead of remembering the positivity and the fact that we are actually awesome. Getting a loss each week is fantastic. And I think we've lost sight of that somewhat. When I started doing Slimming World, I was getting big numbers every week. And I think a lot of people get into the same sort of routine where they eat badly and have a not great diet, and then all of a sudden when they change those habits, the weight starts coming off quite quickly and in quite high numbers. In my first 3 weeks I lost a stone. In my first 3 months I lost 4 stone. But as time goes on, those numbers are naturally going to slow down, so we might only be losing half a pound or 1 pound or 2 pound per week, and there is nothing wrong with that. And I think people are starting to forget that what they're aiming to do is lose weight, and what they're doing is losing weight. When we spend our week being good, eating the right foods, and actually following the plan to the T, and then going and standing on those scales and losing weight, that shows that we are being amazing. We are following through on what we said we were going to do. We are standing on those scales and we are heading towards our goal. Now, it doesn't matter if you're taking baby steps or big strides. The important thing is that we are getting closer and closer to that target. It's so important for us to celebrate that, and I think we've forgotten to do that. I know how frustrating it can be to go into a weigh-in session and think, yes, I've slammed it this week, I'm going to get a brilliant number, and it doesn't really show the amount of work that I've put in, because I may have been excellent that week. I may have been thinking I was going to get 4 or 5 pounds off, and I may have only gone in and got 1 pound off, and that can be deflating. That can be deflating for anybody. But don't forget, those scales do not tell you how much effort that you have put in. They only show you the weight that's coming off. And for a lot of people, what they don't seem to realise is just because the number isn't going down, that doesn't mean you aren't physically changing. There have been weeks where I may have gone in and even had a gain, and yet when I've taken my measurements, I am smaller. I'm smaller around my arms, or I'm smaller around my waist, or I'm smaller around my chest. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you're not losing the numbers on the scales that you aren't physically changing. I know that a lot of people try and go to the gym, or they go out running, or they get in some form of exercise, and when you do that you build muscle mass. Now, we're always told muscle weighs more than fat, and it can be a bit sort of, okay, muscle weighs more than fat, but it really does. And if you're going to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week, or going out running, or going swimming, or whatever your exercise of choice is, then chances are you are building muscle as you are losing weight. So whereas your actual physical weight may not be coming down, that doesn't mean that you're not burning off the fat. That doesn't mean that your tummy isn't shrinking. What I always say to people is important to do is not just look at the numbers on the scales, because as I've said previously, those scales are not going to tell you how much work you've put in. They're also not going to say to you that you have put on 8 pounds of muscle this week. You are looking fantastic. You just haven't actually lost any weight. Those scales are only ever going to tell you the number. So is it really that important to focus on the number on those scales? I admit, it does look good. When you go in and you've got a couple of pounds off and you stand on those scales and it feels fantastic. It is brilliant, but it's not the be-all and end-all of it. It's so important to think and look outside of the box. Think outside of those numbers that you see from one week to the next, because it doesn't really matter. People ask me about my target, and I don't really have a set target. As a challenge to myself, I'd like to lose 10 stone, but I don't necessarily need to lose 10 stone, and I might lose 8 stone and think, yeah, I'm happy with how I look now. ultimately I might get to 10 stone and think, I want to push it, I want to get another half a stone off or another stone off. It's always going to come down to how we feel physically, and we let those numbers on the scales dictate to us how we should feel emotionally, and that's a bad thing to do. We shouldn't get off those scales and see that we've only lost £1, or see that we've put half a pound on, or see that we've not got the number that we were looking for, and then go and undo it all by binging or eating crap because we feel so terrible that we didn't see the numbers that we want. There is such a bigger picture to look at, and I really think that if we just focused more on the positive side of it, if we just looked more at what we're actually doing and how amazing we all are, we're all on this journey, and it doesn't matter how long it takes, we are all fantastic because we are losing that weight. We are aiming for those goals that we set out to get, and we are going to smash them. It doesn't matter if it's in a week, it doesn't matter if it's in a month, we are going towards it. So every half a pound, every pound, every £2 that you feel disappointed by because it should have been more, celebrate it. Don't talk yourself out of the fact that you were amazing. You lost weight that week. This is exactly what you wanted to do. I've said in the past, and I genuinely agree, I think this is the best thing that we could do, is not to go in and stand on those scales and say, yes, Gemma, you've got £2 off. We should just go, yes, Gemma, you've lost weight this week. Well done. Because that is what we've done. It doesn't matter if we've only lost half a pound. It doesn't matter if we've lost £6. We have lost weight. We are all on this journey to try and lose weight. And we aren't celebrating when we lose weight. It's so silly. We should be making more of the fact that we are doing it. Because the numbers are what really mess with our minds. I don't care what I weigh. I honestly don't care what I weigh. If I went and stood on those scales and they told me that I weighed 100 stone, I wouldn't love it. But ultimately, if I was stood there and thinking, do you know what, I love my body, I love how I look, my clothes are fitting, I'm confident, I walk around with my head held high, then who gives a shit what that number says? Honestly, who cares? It doesn't matter. We focus on the wrong things. Until I can stand on those scales and say that I'm happy with my body, I'm going to carry on trying to lose weight. So every time that I go in, whether it's half a pound or £5, I'm losing weight, and that means I am still heading towards my target. We really, really, really need to push each other and push ourselves to be positive, to celebrate every single loss. I think if we can cheer each other on, then why can't we just go in and cheer ourselves on? It's so important. We need to be celebrating every single loss that we get. We need to keep tapping ourselves on the back and telling each other that we have done incredibly, telling ourselves that we have done incredibly. It doesn't matter if you step on those scales and you only have a small loss. What matters is you stepped on those scales and you've had a loss. You set out to achieve something that week and you achieved it. So you go away and you think about how good it feels to be that bit lighter. We see ourselves every single day, so we are usually the last person who will notice a difference in ourselves. But go back, try on some clothes that you wore 6 months ago. Look over the measurements that you've already taken, make a before and after picture, see that you are incredible and that we're all being amazing every single time we keep trying. Whether we win or we fail, the important bit is that we keep carrying on. Guys, thanks for sticking with me through another video. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope that I've maybe managed to inspire or maybe change the way you think about things. Remember how amazing you are. Remember, always, always, always celebrate every little goal. If you'd like to see more, you can always press that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter.